G'day, welcome back to the 40 channel. So we're going to keep cracking along with this fire truck in this episode. Main thing we're going to be doing is tail shafts. The uni joints need to be replaced. Going to put brand new ones in. We've ordered them. We're going to rip them all out. We're going to show you how we're going to do that. There's a few different ways of doing it. Some people hack, some people cut, some people grind. But I'm going to show you how to get them out without having to do any crazy cutting or anything mad like that. So uni joints, I'm going to play a little bit with the motor, which is just behind the camera. I'm going to throw the starter motor on. Exciting episode. Let's get into it. Let's rip out these uni joints. Righto, tail shafts. Now this one's had uni joints changed out at some time before because it has a couple different styles in it. It has your little circlip style ones that just pop out, and we also have a ring style one which is a bit more of the old school way they used to be. So the first thing we're going to do before we do anything is we're going to soak every single uni joint in some R1 just around the circlips. Right, to make things a little bit easier, we can pull the ends out, and that's just going to make things a bit easier to work with. And the first thing we're going to do is pull out the circlips. So we'll show you the two different types of circlips you're going to come across and how easy it is to pull them out. Circlip pliers either side of it, and just pull it in. Just give it a bit of a wiggle. Sometimes they just get jammed in there, and then you can pop that circlip straight out. Righto, this is where we get to be brutal with our uni joints. So if you've got a nice solid vise, this is going to make life a bit easier. You don't have to clamp it in the vise. It's got to sit it in there so that's nice and loose. Get a good hammer, and what we're going to do is we're going to hit just either side of this, and that's going to start to punch out the bearing so that we can get it out. We have to work our way around and then use a pin punch. So all we really need is a circlip pliers, a hammer, and a pin punch to get these out. Righto, you can see that has pushed all the way up and nearly come all the way out. Righto, so we'll just spin that over. We'll do exactly the same with the other side. That's popped up. Grab that bearing that's popped out in the vise, and then we'll just give that a little bit of a tap. Give that a tap on the back side there. That one came out really easily. Now you can see straight away that's just fallen apart because we've got one of them out. Righto, with that last one left, we're just going to sit that in the vise with a pin punch, sit that straight through and tap that last one straight out. Alright, we get our uni joint, we'll sit it just in the vise and then we'll give it a hit. See, that's bearings popped up all the way. Alright, so that's popped out there. Now we can push that out, pull that bearing off, pop it all out, and the last one, just tap it straight out with our pin punch. That's it. So that's how you remove all your uni joints. So the cool thing is this was a genuine Toyota uni joint. You can still see it's got the logo on it. Has a little T on the end there. So it's pretty cool, and the TEQ there. And actually, they actually look in pretty good condition for how old they are, being original bearings. Big long one is exactly the same process, just a little bit more awkward. Right, sometimes you can't quite get them out far enough, but there's enough room just under here to get your pin punch in. And then we can sit it down there, we can start tapping out. You can use a shop press. Now I've got a really small one here, it's perfect for this type of stuff. Right, I put one end in, put your uni joint center in, slide that up into your roller needles, put your top piece on. Now we want to be really careful, as we press this down we want to make sure that this is exactly centered. Otherwise the little needle rollers will catch on that and spear out and you're going to damage it. You'll be back to square one. And we just want to go really slow and make sure that everything is nice and square. As you're pressing it down, make sure that you have full free movement every time. Just keep slowly working it on. Right, now we're at the point where we want to take extra care, because we don't want to push too far on, because we want to get our circlips in place. So we're just going to work one side at a time. We're going to push it down just to reveal that little machined groove where we're going to put the circlip in. So let's just take it nice and slow. You can just see that groove coming up now. We don't want to go too much further. Let's have a look. Right, you can just see that groove just inside there. That's where our circlip's going to sit. Do a quick clean out, make sure there's no rubbish or build up in there. Just with some circlip pliers, I'm going to push it closed. That'll close that right up. The back side going in nice first. Just like that. Then we're going to turn it over, push this one down, just in exactly the same manner. I'm going to push it down just to see that groove. Righto, quick little tip for the end piece here. Because it has this taper, it tapers in, when you try to put it on, it actually wants to kick. So to keep it nice and square, if we put our 20mm socket underneath it, then it's all going to stay nice and square when we're coming down. I don't know if we can just see that little groove just inside there. We're in place. Exactly the same process as before. Right, now that's in place. Before we get too much further, on the small piece we're going to have the grease nipple hole facing up. Have your grease nipple facing on a 45-degree angle. When all the tail shaft is on, you can get your grease gun in and grease it up. Righto, our rear tail shaft. So we're just going to slip in. I'm going to line this up and we're just going to push this in by hand a little bit. Just to make everything a bit easier, because it's going to be awkward. We're going to try to hold this up in the press. It's going to move around. These are going to fall out. So we're going to tap our top bearing in with a dead blow hammer or a copper hammer. We're not going to use anything else than that. Just enough so that it's all sitting in there and it doesn't all fall apart when we go to put it in our press. Our support piece. Just slowly take that down. Making sure you've got full movement all the time. Exactly the same process as before. We're taking it down just to reveal that C-clip groove. Righto. Same process, C-clip out. Drop that in place, clip it in. Righto, so you don't have a shop press, but you do have a vise. So again, we can use the vise to install our uni joints. It's not really much harder than using a shop press. It's just that you're working from a different angle and you have to try to support things a little bit differently. Okay, just like before, we're going to put it in place. Top one on and line everything up. Very light little taps because we don't want to go overboard. But as long as we can get our uni joint to move freely between the two. If you've got soft jaws, just some aluminium or copper soft jaws, chuck them in your vise. I'm going to open our vise all the way up. Open it up wide enough so we can fit the whole ends of the uni joint in. We're just going to close it up very slowly, continuing to make sure that everything's lined up. You can see this is closing this all up. Now you're only going to get so far because we can't push in with like our shop press. So this is where we need to get 20mm socket. We'll use that and we can push it through. The other problem we're going to have is we're not going to be able to see the circlip groove. So we're going to have to keep taking in and out to make sure that everything's lined up and we don't push too far. So pull it out and just sort of have a try to gauge how far further you need to go in. Like I said, it's going to be a bit of a fiddly process, but if you don't have a shop press, there's still a way of being able to put in your uni joints. Righto, there's our groove. We could go a tiny bit more, but we'll see if we can get the clip in that and see if that's going to be okay. Do exactly the same on the other side. Use our socket to push that through. Now the beauty of this is we can't push any further than that circlip. Righto, that's done. So it's pretty simple to do in a vise as well as a shop press. I'm going to continue to put everything else back together and then we're going to go chuck it on the chassis. Righto, that's it. So the drive shafts are in, all new grease nipples, all new uni joints. It's all painted up and they look absolutely awesome. So I'm pretty stoked with them. Front, rear are in and it's ready to go. Righto guys, really appreciate all your support and until next time, take care of yourselves.